Hey everyone, I'm jumping on the bandwagon and trashing this abomination of a show. Mostly because there was people out there trying to defend it of all things. And listen, look, you can like the character designs, you can like the concept, but trying to defend this show just proves you're a mindless zombie who would just follow trigger words because literally the people who give this 5 stars and trying to say it's a good show are only doing it because it has LGBTQ characters and trans characters. I know the T stands for trans, but I have to make that obvious. I watched 3 episodes and I literally wanted to throw up from all the lazy animation, the animation errors, the horrible sound mixing. I don't even have software to edit my voice and music and stuff like that, and I can do a better job than what they try to pass for this. Like the first episode, I couldn't hear Rosemary or Sage talking because the music was too loud, and then you have this character called Slime Boy, who I literally the only way I can copy his voice is if I threw my microphone across the room and mumbled. Also, I'm seeing tweets that the voice actor from Slime Boy is a groomer. I'm not gonna support that until I get concrete evidence. Innocent until proven guilty. Which is funny because the people who support this show do not believe in that. They, as soon as they hear a rumor like that on any anime, they will attack that voice actor immediately. Um, this show deserves all the hate it gets. Well, besides the dickheads who just give it a 1 to 0 star reviews because it has gay and trans characters in it. That's not fair. But every other review of this anime, it's 100% accurate. It has lazy animation. There's literally, um, this was pointed out earlier, it uses stock images in its animation. And wow, I mean, this had 4 years to polish, and not to mention it was made by stolen money, but it had 4 years to polish, and they didn't do. It's like you went to college, your professor gave you an assignment, and you think if you can do a C plus job, you're fine. But turns out you failed because he says, "I gave you this much time, and you didn't even look over it. You hand in a piece of crap. What were you doing? What did you do all this time?" From like bad walking animation where the characters don't even bobble, they go up and down, and their legs just kind of like doing a cat like that Russian dance where you just kick out your legs. There was no real walk cycle. There was Keyframe's moment, possibly the dwarf with the blonde hair. There's a part where she was standing up and it completely skipped over that animation. I'm just, what were they thinking? How was this green light? This was more like a proof of concept than an actual studio made project. Not to mention the horrible writing. I wasn't going to talk about the writing because everything is subjective, like writing and art style. Some people don't really like the long, detailed, explaining stuff. Some people just like quips and. But my god, dude. Saying like a ventral is like a flock of birds that just sloops into your face. Who the fuck? What? That doesn't even make sense. Or the fact Rosemary broke the hilt of her sword, and the trans teacher or principal, I forgot what his role is, was like, well, everything has a story, and now this one too. And he does sound that congested. But the story is you're fucking klutz. I mean, wow. Um, there's 2 scenes that really pisses me off. When Snapdragon realizes he can't use his dad's axe, instead of thinking of a different, like I think it would have been better if we saw what his dad was like and how he fought, and Snapdragon was trying to mimic that. He's like, I'm going to be just like my dad, and that message of you do not have to be uh, what other people are, just be yourself. And he starts to do like really tactical shit with his axe and not just like be a barbarian. Oh, he melts down the axe and he makes two hatchets. So it's still the axe, it's still his dad, but it has his own little twist to it. But instead they're just like, no, this ain't for you. Take this rapier, this little angry Tom Go is gonna have your axe. It's just like, couldn't he just keep the axe? I'm really upset that he just forgoes his dad's axe. It was really important to him. And I understand the message. They beat you over the head with this message. Um, that old's bad, new's good. And that's another reason why no one likes this show. It beats you over the head with the message. It's like if My Hero Academia had Deku pop out every 2 minutes and saying, hey, keep trying. Ugh, it's just really bad writing. Another thing that pisses me off is during the Halloween episode, Snapdragon is dressed as a mermaid, but he went full on femboy. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, more power to him. But then another guy hits on him, and when he realizes it was Snapdragon, he calls him a freak and like, why are you wearing that? Like, dude, it's fucking Halloween. Do you not have Halloween where you're from? I seen like in my college for laughs and giggles, people dress up as mermaids and princesses, but no one was like, "Ooh, dude, what the fuck?" Because clearly the people who wrote this anime couldn't write a male character to save their life unless it's a trans character. My god. Oh. And there's people trying to defend this show just because it has a trans character and it has gay characters, which is not a good reason to give this show a 5-star, but is also not a good reason to completely trash the show. The horrible animation and terrible writing and lazy animation, like in one episode, Sage has a book and she puts it on the bench, but in the next shot, it's completely gone. Also, like people are saying like, oh, you're being too rough with the anime and blah blah blah. We made fun of stiff Meliodas in Seven Deadly Sins. Literally, we mock any animation error we find. There was a time where all I saw was people complaining about the Pain blow when Pain fought Naruto. So we're literally treating you like every other anime, except for the dickheads who can't handle LGBTQ characters, but still, there's a lot of animation errors. There's a lot wrong with this, and people are trying to defend it solely because it has a trans character in it, and that doesn't make sense. Another complaint is the animation studio is completely new. It's good for its first try. There's a lot of new studios that not put out anime, but put out like a cartoony style, like The Return of the Great Sage, White Snake, Zonju. I completely butchered that Chinese name, but there's a Chinese studio that says, why does America have all the animation studios? We should put stuff out, and it's nothing to write home about, but it's really good. I saw White Snake, and I fell in love with it. I like the story. I like the characters. English dub was a little weird, but it was made for the Chinese. There was also this Filipino studio that wanted to get out all the problems with the Filipino countries, like birth control, and I forgot I think it was called Nephilia, You Animal, and it was really good. I didn't expect it to love it because of the adult content of this woman cheats on her man, she gets pregnant, and she was like, well, I was thinking about telling the guy I'm cheating with my husband on that the baby's his. I'm just like, oh my god, what is this woman doing? But it was really good. Didn't have the ending I didn't think it would have, but yeah, I was like, oh man, I recommend this to all my friends, even the people who made Klaus. That's not actual. It's not an actual studio, but God, I love Klaus so much. It's my favorite Christmas movie now. So saying that it's a new studio doesn't give this show the right to be this terrible. I mean, there's literally scenes where like things disappear, the backgrounds don't match up. The scene where Rosemary draws two lizards, give it to Snapdragon, and Snapdragon just crumple it up and threw in her face. None of the kids blink. And some people are like, oh, like the Japanese only get paid 2 pennies, and you want that kind of animation? I was like, yeah, seeing how you stole the money from the Japanese to make this Trek. And the whole reason why everyone hated this show out of the get-go is because Crunchyroll promised to give the proceeds they were getting to underpaid Japanese artists who tweeted out that they're living off of fried dough and coffee milk for 2 months. And they lied, and it's like, oh yeah, we're putting on our own studio, and it's gonna be all women, it's gonna be diverse, and the only diversity was their hair color. And that's why, before even this show was made, everyone was mad because they felt lied to. And quite frankly, I thankfully don't give Crunchyroll my money. And I would never will after this. So every negative review, every 1 star rating is completely justified. And people trying to defend this show are just, well, zombies. They're zombies who try to protect it because it has trigger words in it for them to be like, oh, well, you only don't like it because it has a female character, because it has gay characters, because it's a new studio. Pymation, Villainous, Has-Been Hotel, well, that got picked up at Studio A1. Imagine being so good that a studio picks you up and you didn't have to make one out of blood money. Yeah, those have great animations, especially Villainous, because have you seen the animations for Black Hat? There's a scene where he goes inside out, and it's so detailed. I'm like, ew, my skin crawled, but that was amazing. Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss has much better LGBTQ characters represented in it because they act like human and not precious little snowflakes. It's just, like, the defense for this show, it's so paper thin, and people are foaming at the mouth if you complain about the animation and the laziness they took. Like, the hair doesn't move at all, even when they're moving. Only when it's specific action scenes. There's a scene where Rosemary's mom is fighting a griffin, and it's like an intro to a 1998 Pokemon battle, like blue and red, where it just kind of like slides across the screen. Like, why? There's a scene where Pastry is crawling in a it's not an air duct, but it's crawl space, I guess what you would call it. She's crawling in a crawl space, but she's over the layer where the door is, and they're just tweening it so she just gets bigger as she goes along. And wow. So it's definitely a 2 star, 1 star show. And seriously, why are you even defending this? Well, needless to say, the backlash is definitely going to take Crunchyroll to never do this again. But knowing Crunchyroll, they might delete all the negative reviews and keep the 5 star reviews. Someone actually left a 5 star review trashing the show, and on the bottom it says, I only gave it 5 stars so Crunchyroll doesn't automatically delete it. Smart of you, my dude. Smart. Play the game. So yeah, it's just seriously, this had to be perfect to justify what Crunchyroll did, and it is a total dreck. Ugh, I mean, seriously. Even your first year of animation, they teach you how to do a walk cycle, and this show couldn't even get that right. I don't even have studio grade equipment, but I have done better animations for fun. So, yeah. Look, you can like the idea of this show, you can like the character designs, that's a personal opinion, but when it comes to the animation and what this studio did to get this out, and the very poor quality, they had 4 years and they didn't polish it. There's no such thing as making it too good, yet there's lazy animation, basic anime, but basic animation errors. The sound mixing is horrible, and that's not even like the point people are trying to defend it. I mean, we have Kobayashi Dragon Maid with a female dragon in love with a female woman, and they're like, ugh, people who like anime just hate gays. I'm like, really? Because the most popular one is a dragon girl trying to bang a woman. It's just, literally, the people trying to defend this show don't even have a leg to stand on. So yeah, um, so that's my part of this train bash that we're doing. Literally, just I mean, I know people are gonna get sick of hearing the negative reviews, but it's really that bad. It shouldn't have been created. It probably should have been overlooked. They probably should hire actual animators and actual script writers, but they didn't, and now we're stuck with this. So yeah,